Washington is traveling to Corvallis to take on Oregon State. There's a big sentiment going into this game that Oregon State is going to hand Washington their first loss of the season. Many people that I've talked to think it's going to happen, and Vegas thinks there's a very strong chance that it happens that well because they're a 2.5-point favorite. Now, why is Washington, a team that's undefeated, that's beaten the best teams in this conference, an underdog on the road against Oregon State? Well, it's the fact that you have to go on the road against Oregon State, and the majority of upsets that we've seen occur over the last couple of years in college football have happened when there's been a team that may be better on paper going on the road and losing. You see, Washington, they don't play their best football, in my opinion, on the road. I think they play their best football when they're playing at home. When you look at Oregon State, they got a really good defense. And also, they're really good at running the football. So it's pretty understandable why a lot of people are picking Oregon State to pull off this upset because Washington, their defense isn't good. And they also aren't that great at being able to stop the run. Oregon State is the second most physical team in the Pac-12 behind Utah. And last week, Utah's offense played a lot better than what I expected. I didn't think that Utah's offense would be as efficient as what it was last weekend. They nearly won that game despite Bryson Barnes throwing 2 interceptions. If Utah can have success moving the football downfield against you, throwing the football, you feel really good about Oregon State's chances being able to have similar success with DJ Uiagalelei. But here's the problem with that. I don't think DJ Uiagalelei is that good. I think that his numbers are drastically inflated. Anytime I watch DJ Uiagalelei, I don't really see a quarterback that is all that great as people try to hype him up to be. His accuracy isn't good. He makes questionable decisions with the football, and he doesn't have good footwork inside the pocket. If Oregon State's going to pull off this upset, I think it's going to be because Damian Martinez, one of the more underrated backs in this sport, has a big-time performance. Last week against Stanford, he had 4 touchdowns, and he ran for 146 rushing yards. Washington, they got to be able to stop him in this game because if not, Oregon State's going to be able to control time possession, keep your offense off the field, and if Oregon State's defense can get a couple of stops, which they definitely have the capability of being able to do so, this definitely can be an upset. Washington, though, outside of their close win against Arizona State, there hasn't really been a single team that's been able to slow down this offense. And Utah has the best defense in this conference, and they weren't even able to slow down Michael Penix and these wide receivers. You see, does Oregon State have the depth and talent in their secondary to be able to slow down these wide receivers that Washington has? Because they're 3-4 deep there. They also got a really good offensive line, and yeah, they aren't good running the football. I don't think it's because they can't run the football. It's just that they choose not to, because why do we need to run the football when we can just throw it all game against you with Michael Penix, who most people consider to be top 2 in the Heisman race right now? You see, for Washington, their defense really concerns me in this game. Because even though DJ Uiagalelei isn't a good quarterback, he still has the ability to make a couple of big throws downfield. He does have a really good arm, and he is pretty athletic. And if Bryson Barnes was able to have success against this Washington defense, DJ Uiagalelei should be able to do the same. Washington is going to have to be able to make sure that they're completely flawless on offense in this game. This may be a game where your defense doesn't get any stops at all with the way that Oregon State likes to run the football and how good their offensive line is. And they got a really good defensive line and a really good pass rush. And they're also really good at forcing takeaways. You know, there's an expression that goes, styles make fights. This is a really good game that we have two teams that have very differing styles. Washington is more finesse. They're going to air you out. They play more of a perimeter game. Meanwhile, you look at Oregon State, you know what they want to do. They want to run the football, and they want to prove that they're more physical than you. Whose style is going to prevail? Are you going to have that old school smash mouth style of Oregon State that comes on top? Or are you going to have that air raid, let's just say F it, throw caution to the wind, and we're just going to throw the football 40, 50 times, and you're going to have to stop Michael Penix. You're going to have to be able to get you're going to have to make sure that he's under constant pressure. You got to make sure that he doesn't have time to get these big throws downfield that he's been able to get with ease all season long. I like Washington. Oregon State, yeah, they probably could have a good amount of success running the football, but eventually DJ Uiagalelei is going to have to make some big throws, and I don't think he's capable of being able to get it done. Michael Penix, I trust him way more on the road than I do trusting DJ Uiagalelei at home. I don't care what the stats say. If you watch DJ Uiagalelei play, this dude is not that good of a quarterback. He's a okay quarterback. He's a good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. And going up against Michael Penix and this Washington Huskies offense, yeah, Oregon State has a really good defense. And you do like the fact that Oregon State is going up against a Washington Huskies defense that has played some really terrible football down the stretch. Washington is still capable of being able to get some stops, though. Anytime you're a run-heavy team and you're going up against a team like Washington, you really need to make sure that you can make the most out of every possession. Your defense is great, but Utah had a really good defense as well. Outside of Arizona State, there hasn't really been a team that Washington has played all season long that has displayed the ability to completely shut down this offense. Yeah, they're going on the road, and they got to play against Oregon State and Corvallis, against a sold-out crowd most likely. And it is going to be loud, and it is going to have a big impact on the way that this game goes. But I just trust Washington. Listen, I know that you got to be a balanced football team, but even though Washington's defense is not good, I don't think it's completely dog shit. Hell, I think they can at least get a stop or two, and that's all that Washington needs is a stop or two. Because I don't really think that Oregon State's defense can hold these boys all game long. There hasn't been a single team outside of Arizona State that has displayed the ability to do so. What makes Oregon State any different? Okay, and you go back and you look at their game against Arizona. Arizona's offense had a good amount of success against this defense. Okay, it's not like Arizona wasn't able to do whatever they needed to do to be able to pull off that upset. I mean, DJ Uiagalelei, he had 2 touchdowns in that game, but he got outplayed by Noah Fafita. Yeah, they were able to shut down the run game of Arizona, but Arizona was able to spread the ball out. They were able to have a lot of success getting big plays downfield and having success throwing the football. If Arizona can beat Oregon State, throwing the football, why can't Washington be able to do it when that's their style of football? Washington, they're not a team that's going to be able to impose their will up you with their physicality. They're a team that likes to win on the perimeter. And you look at Oregon State, yeah, they got a great defense, but they haven't shown the ability to shut down a truly elite offense. I haven't seen it all season. And this is one of those games where Oregon State and DJ Uiagalelei, they got to show me. DJ Uiagalelei, he has to prove to me that he can go toe-to-toe with Michael Penix. They can run the football all they want to. You're still going to have to ask DJ Uiagalelei to make some big throws to win this game. I like Washington with the victory. 34-27 is my final score prediction for this matchup. I'm taking the Huskies. I think they remain unbeaten on the season.